Hi, and welcome to month 2 of Dark Souls Beard Watch. I'm gonna keep going till Dark Souls 2 PC comes out. Joining me on the couch is Brad.
It's gonna be a mighty beard, it sounds like.
Matt.
It might be a while.
Hi.
So while we're waiting,
Yeah.
let's kill some time.
Okay.
You and I saw Dark Souls 2
We did.
2 days ago.
2 nights ago, yes.
2 nights ago.
Yes.
Tell me everything. What's going on? What's the story?
I think you're cursed.
Okay.
The curse.
Yeah.
There's a curse.
Okay.
I got that out of the
Okay.
intro. They say curse like 38 times.
Yeah.
You fall into a whirlpool.
Yes.
That's about all I got.
Patrick, tell me the story.
It's a little bit incoherent.
Tell you the story of Dark Souls?
2.
I don't know.
Let's back it up. Tell me the story of Dark Souls.
I linked the fire, and it seemed like a bad idea. It seemed like I fucked up.
Are you the Dark Lord? Are you the Dark Lord?
I don't know. Are you the Dark Lord when you exit, or are you the Dark Lord when you link the fire?
Exit.
You're always the Dark
I didn't
Lord.
know that there was a second option for the ending. Like, the game doesn't make that obvious, so I just did, I'll just link the fire. And
Oh,
that seemed
weird,
like
weird. It didn't make it obvious? That's super weird. Did you not read the text on the item description of the dark ember that you use to cook your socks in the first 10 minutes of the game? That's weird.
No, unfortunately, I didn't read that till I read the FAQ afterwards,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Epic
But
Name Bro has a
is
sick video on it.
Is 2 connected to 1 in any meaningful way that they have said?
That's a fantastic question. Joining me on the couch is Brad Shoemaker.
Well, Patrick, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, okay. Great.
So what do we know? It
All
takes
right.
place in a different land.
Yeah, so like they just jumped us into the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, we started new characters. We saw the intro. We played from the tutorial.
And no matter how much we asked, they really weren't letting that much information out.
Yeah.
Like we definitely asked those questions of, is it connected? How much
Yeah.
is it connected? When does this take place? After? Before? Matt Rory's running the chat. People in the chat might know more than we do at this point from other interviews and stuff like that. But they were being pretty much like, it's
Dodgy.
explained in the game, or what's going to be in the game is explained in the game.
Read all
Sounds
the item
familiar.
descriptions.
Yeah, talk to the characters. You know how it goes.
Yeah. But I mean, we didn't see any returning characters that I know of. Like the land, the
Not
kingdom.
yet.
The kingdom is called Dranleic.
Yeah, spelled all crazy like. Can you spell it?
Drangleic.
Yeah. Dragolic.
And some of the characters pronounce the G and some don't.
It's got an awesome intro.
It's like a super lavish, like really nice quality CG intro.
I think we have
that tells you nothing.
Drew, you have some of the trailer over there. The trailer starts basically, I think, where the intro starts, but then we kind of lose that. That's fantastic. It's got that MacBook in it also. So the game actually starts where this trailer starts, and then kind of moves on from there as this thing goes into.
Yeah, this trailer I guess came out a couple weeks ago.
But holy cow, this thing was like
dude, it's nice.
a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's really long and like it's practically like Square Enix quality CG.
It's gorgeous.
They've done pretty good CG for the other games.
Yeah, they
too.
have, but this one is really a cut above. And leaves you just going, huh?
So
Like,
yeah,
it's really abstract. It doesn't,
you're kind of this guy who's been wandering. They talk about
Powered by FromSoftware.
Yeah, powered by.
They definitely drive it home that you are the cursed.
And in Dark Souls, they talk about the curse, the dark sign, the curse of the undead. And I'm assuming this is what it's alluding to. I think in some interview previous, not on our site, somewhere else, it said Dark Souls 1 is focused on like humanity and stuff like that, and this focuses more on the curse of that.
The intro is really weird. There's some like kind of self-aware dialogue in there. Like they talk about hollowing.
Yeah.
They talk about you will lose your souls over and over.
Yeah,
Like
there's
like
a
weird almost like meta references to the gameplay.
There's kind of a funny part where you're starting out. Well, that's kind of getting ahead. So you kind of you're on this journey. You go to this land. You jump in this whirlpool. You're definitely hollowed, so that's like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It seems like it's in the same universe. Like no doubt about it.
Definitely like commonalities, even if it's a different place.
And then you meet these kind of sages, if you will, right?
I guess it's a bunch of old crones and like a bunch of old women.
Like they buy like
these-
spinning wheels and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And they all look kind of identical. Drew, do you have a picture? I think you have a picture of what the ladies look like.
Some of the screenshots have got the lady who tells
Show me
you what's
the
going
ladies.
on.
This is not the actual intro for the game.
No, this is
more
just like
B-roll.
bosses and
Yeah,
stuff.
they
That's
are,
her.
yeah.
That's her.
So you meet her, and then she gives you this effigy, and that's when you make your character. There she is. There's that lovely lady.
Yep.
And she gives you this effigy, and she's like, "Here, take this. You recognize it."
She's like, "Who do you think that is?"
Who do you think that is? And it's like, put your name in, and like make your character, and you get to pick kind of similar classes. There's the dual wielder, which you picked.
Yeah, the swordsman is the guy who starts as a dual wielder.
And that's been kind of known.
Yeah, people knew you could do that.
I picked the explorer.
Yeah, you're the monocle-wearing fancy lad.
I had a monocle and a sick hat.
Like a jaunty hat, jaunty little cap.
My description was like, you get a lot of items. And I was like, well, all right, whatever.
But well, they never been very explicit about what even in Dark Souls, the items you get were kind of vaguely explained at best. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so it's being within the same universe, you can kind of see what some of them are.
Sure.
Yeah, like there was like a Lloyd's talisman, which I think has been around and stuff like that.
Is there a master key equivalent?
I didn't see
that.
But there were like descriptions of stuff because you pick a gift again.
Yeah, you pick a gift again.
And there were descriptions of stuff that were even more vague, I thought, than Dark Souls. Were like, hey, this item, huh? And then like the other one was like, but this item.
One of the
like pretty much like an emoticon wink.
The description on the last item on the list is like, this might be useful eventually.
So you got all that stuff, and then
You're still picking classes though, right?
Yeah.
Starting classes, and you can do all the character, the in-depth crazy sliders
Sure.
and all that nonsense. And then the lady is like, oh, one more thing. Make sure you don't lose your souls. And then she's like, just kidding, you're going to lose them all the time. All right, anyway, go back through that door. And then you start the game.
Yeah.
And then there's bonfires.
Yeah.
You do not start with an Estus flask.
Yeah. Instead, you start with something called a life gem.
Yeah, and you get a couple of those.
Well, I think you start with 10 of them. And they seem consumable because they don't refresh when you rest.
Definitely consumable.
When you rest at a bonfire, they don't. They're almost more like healing items from Demon Souls.
Yeah, except they're definitely more like the herbs, but they bring your health back a lot slower.
Yeah. So, but you can move while you use them. They don't lock you in place when you like snap one.
Yeah.
But it takes a while for the health to
It's like
back
going
up.
from Diablo to Diablo 2, like the potions all of a sudden were.
But they still have Estus flasks. After like 30 minutes, you get one.
Yeah,
But
so
only
that's a
one.
little bit later on. So you don't have one in like you do this whole kind of longish tutorial zone. It's like much longer than I feel like the Asylum was, where you're like going through all these fog gates and
Yeah,
and
it's like this series of like twisty trees where you're running along the branches and going into like each tree that you enter through a fog gate has a bunch of like tombstones that tell you what the controls are.
Yeah, there's like these markers that if you accidentally are just rolling around
Yeah.
can destroy and never read again.
Yeah, so you can
be
basically
careful while you're sprinting through there.
You can basically destroy all the tutorial hints.
But if you play Dark Souls, the only thing that was weird, so I missed one, and I'm like looking over at Brad being like, they took fucking jumping out of this game.
Yeah.
You can't jump anymore.
Yeah.
But they actually mapped jumping to clicking in
L3,
which
like the left stick.
is all right.
Yeah.
I think I would have rather had them map the jumping strong attack to that,
Sure.
because that's the one I messed up. When you mess up the jumping strong attack, you're boned. But yeah, jumping, so now you can run and just click in the thing and you jump. You don't have to like worry about tapping the button again.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and so the dual wielding was new, and you can use two hands on either your right-handed item or your left-handed item.
How do you select that?
So you can either tap. We were playing on the PS3, obviously,
Sure.
and you can tap the triangle to use two hands, or you can hold it and he'll use two hands with his left-handed.
Oh,
item.
neat.
You get 3 slots per hand now instead of 2. Huh? You know, like the third Souls game. You know what I'm saying? You read into that what you will?
Follow the souls. You can wear 4 rings now.
You can wear 4 rings even though you still have 10 fingers. So, maybe they're big and they hit each other.
Well, in D&D, the 1 ring per hand was always like the magic would interfere if you had more than
Oh,
one.
really?
So, I don't know.
So maybe he's wearing like
I'm sure they make it
two on
very
his
clear
toes.
why you're allowed to have 4
Sure.
now.
What else is new mechanically? The interface is kind of, I'd say it's completely revamped and overhauled the menus.
Really?
I mean, it's similar.
Is it better so that it's not total shit anymore? Because the ability to not like do weapon comparisons for stats when you're buying
like that.
stuff
I didn't see that.
Is,
I don't think
is
that-
ridiculous.
I don't think
like
that's in
that.
there.
Like there is obfuscation, and then there is just bad UI design. And I think Dark Souls just had a lot of bad UI design that just made it was infuriating when you were just trying to do very basic tasks.
Yeah, like It's no, you're not there. You're not going to hover a mouse over and have a thing pop up with damage. But, you know, it always did have, like, hey, if you're going to equip this weapon, your right-hand damage is going to be, or your damage is going to be plus or minus this, or it did always have some of that. You know, it's blue and red.
It's tough to find that information, though.
It's not great. So hitting select this time actually gives you a lot more information as you drill down all of the attributes. It's a lot more helpful. The text seems like it was written by a native English speaker. And
It's a little more explanatory.
Yeah, and it actually goes through like what all the stat buffs are and all that stuff a lot more coherently than I feel like it did before.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I'm looking for it and I know what it's trying to explain this time. But you know, it does do the scaling a lot better. So the menu I thought was a bit better. You know, you're still, I don't think the sorting and stuff is that great, but I didn't get that many items. It seems like it shows you a lot more items on screen.
Yeah, I think there are more. Yeah, and I think there are more categories of different ways to sort.
It's less a big scrolling list.
Yeah, you can go through like weapon types now, right? Is what I heard. You can go from.
Oh, maybe I didn't have enough weapon types to sort.
I think I remember there were more categories of items you could scroll through.
So I started with I started my character with a dagger. And then I immediately started in this, like, you know, we were talking to the ladies we talked about before that give you the effigy, and I immediately just started killing them all.
Vinny killed basically every NPC in the starting area.
Well, but like for two reasons. One, like we had an hour to play, right? Like you're not going to go back there and learn anything about these characters.
Sure.
And two, sometimes killing the NPCs early on will give you like a really dope item.
It's true. In fact, there was one later on, I guess we'll get to that, that gave you a pretty awesome item.
So the weird thing was my dagger broke on like the second lady.
Oh.
It was like useless. It's like, you know, I need to repair it. So I don't know if they're penalizing you for attacking NPCs with weapon damage.
Like the durability on my stuff, I was just fighting enemies, and it barely went down in the 90 minutes.
So I went through like 3 daggers in the whole game. But you know, it was these daggers. Who uses daggers? Maybe they're making daggers better. It was kind of cool. I don't know.
Sure.
Guys with monocles, that's who.
So you leave that area, and then you go through that whole tutorial thing, and there are definitely some monsters in there that you are optional to fight that will just kill you in like 2 hits.
So like the whole tutorial area, before it became clear that it was the tutorial area, it seemed super easy. Like everybody except those 2 monsters.
Maybe if you had a weapon that worked.
Well, sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I was running around with 2 like +1 swords, but
how did that work with your stamina? Did it just drain him like so fast?
Yeah, I mean, it still takes stamina per hit.
What are we seeing here?
It seemed like this is just some NPC chatter.
Do you record this?
This
was
is
provided.
the B-roll that they gave us.
So this looks like a crazy amount of health to start the game with. Is this from the beginning of the game?
No, I never saw. I don't think either of us saw this guy. Also,
this must
also
be
look
for
down there. He's got 12 plus 5 Estus flasks. This is
so
obviously
later.
This is obviously later in the game.
This is the end of the game.
Yeah.
This is the last boss.
And that's better looking armor than I saw.
Be careful.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we got a couple of clips provided to us.
That's good.
But so after you get through that tutorial area, like you kind of go. It's really dark. It's super. That tutorial area is really dark and dingy.
Yes.
And kind of foggy.
Yeah.
And then you run to the end of it and go through this little like crevice, and you come out the other side, and it's just like this like expansive like rolling hills like bathed in golden sunshine, and there's like
it's really
like
weird.
a seaside village. It's like a really impressive, just like artistically. Like the vista that they show you there is like the nicest looking thing I've seen.
It's kind of like when you in Dark Souls when you get to like Anor Londo, like for the first time, you're like, oh, there is a sun somewhere, and like there are more colors than just gray.
Yeah, like that area
looks like
looks,
a beach.
Yeah, it's like on a kind of a seaside cliff. Like it looks really really nice.
It looks great. Everybody's still miserable in there.
Yeah,
like they're all depressed, and so I killed them all. And that's when you meet this lady who is like, she's dressed as like one of those old crones, but she is younger.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, Wanderer, like, this is awesome. Like, high five. Here's an Estus flask. And, like, hey, come back to me if you want to level up.
Yeah.
And then you start getting a little bit more, and this is all from what I remember, so I could be misremembering. She's like, oh, yeah, you know, you'll be killing those 4 big dudes to get their souls eventually.
Yeah, she basically rattles off what sounds like the 4...
The Lord vessels?
Like the 4
whatever you got to do.
The 4 big bads or whatever.
So does she have like a menu to offer you, like for leveling up and everything?
So
like that?
she's basically like the lady in black or whatever from Demon Souls. Like you don't level at bonfires, you talk to her to level up.
Is what it seems like. Oh, the other interesting thing is you can immediately warp at a bonfire, it like gives you a list.
Yeah, like fast travel is just
yeah.
built into the bonfire menu now. Like as soon as you hit the second one, it lets you port back to the first one. Like every bonfire you light, you can immediately just travel.
And it has a little
Everyone
picture
can't be
too.
everyone. I mean, there's so many more bonfires.
Well,
now.
I don't know. All the ones that I unlocked, it would let me fast travel between.
And it's got a picture of the location, so if you don't remember what the like the twixt
things betwixt is the name of the first zone. It's
so
really
it was like
weird.
had a picture of it. So she gives you. Seems like she's the one who will level you up. I don't know if any of those ladies will level you up or if there'll be something later.
But then you killed her.
I killed her. And I got this thing that lets you, it's like a infinite homeward bone. It said it could like, let you warp to bonfires whenever you want.
But presumably, with her dead, you'd never be able to level up.
I don't know.
So
I was never going to get enough souls to level anyway.
Like, if that's actually the case, if she's the only one that can level you in the game, then like that's your soul level 1 run right there, right? Like if you don't want to level, just kill her and get that porting item.
So she's there, but she gives you an Estus flask, and then you just have 1 use on it. That's it.
Is it like your whole health bar though, at least, or?
So all right,
think so.
I should mention also, this is known already, I believe. When you die, you become hollowed, right? And I think each time you die, your maximum health bar goes down until about halfway for me at least.
Because it's like I think it's like Demon Souls, where when you're hollowed, you do have half health.
Sure.
But it takes down every time you die to half.
Huh. How do you restore that health that you lost? You go back to human,
you
or?
have to become human again.
So I don't think you get half health when you're hollowed. I think it just every time you die.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Until you get half.
Until it hits half.
I don't know how you get that back up. I never found a way to become human again.
Sure. Oh, there must be some. Did you not find any humanity or anything like that?
No.
There's no humanity counter.
Yeah.
Let's play some of this B-roll.
Well, there's got to be something in this little area.
So you can see in the upper left the humanity counter's not there anymore.
So that
there's something there. I mean, there has to be.
So when I there was one covenant I found to join, and when I joined it, it filled in like the insignia for that covenant in that spot.
Wow,
It seems like belonging to the covenants is a way bigger deal this time now.
Well, hopefully they'll make it a little easier to find them, because in Dark Souls, one of the big frustrations that some of those covenants are like, go here and knock on this wall that has nothing, and talk to a cat, and then go halfway across the world to find
the one that I found. Do you remember what it was called?
It was the covenant of like, should
something.
you join this or not?
I forget the name of it, but the joining that one was just, there was literally just an NPC standing there that I talked to, and he just said, hey, do you want to join?
What's that little thing underneath the axe there and beside the Estus flask?
It's your next item.
It's the next item if you press down.
Oh, okay. So there's like a queue that you scroll through.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we didn't see this guy. We didn't.
I don't know where this guy is.
So if you look at his health bar, it looks like you saw him in the beginning. He's hollowed, and that's his like tick of health that's off. You can see the maximum is a little bit down, just the hair.
And the Estus flask is taking a little time to heal back up. That's neat.
So I don't know anything about how you get more Estus flasks or Firekeeper souls or anything like that.
You could talk to that lady who levels you up, and I think there was also an option to upgrade your Estus flask with her.
She didn't say she was a Firekeeper or anything, right?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So you keep going, and then we kind of just played Dark Souls 2 from there.
That first area is called Majula.
Yeah.
And it's that little town, and there's a bunch of NPCs in there like who want you to do different things.
There's a merchant.
There's a talking cat.
There's a talking cat.
The magic vendor is like this really snarky talking cat.
I could not kill the cat.
I think I remember watching her. She was just like kind of laughing at you as you tried to kill her.
There were these little pigs on the ground. Oh, so this is an area we actually did play.
Yeah, this is an area I
So
got to.
I didn't get up to this, but I watched Brad play, and I'm actually curious to see where this goes. So there's a guy sitting on the ground that from watching Brad play just looked like Solaire sitting on the ground.
Kinda, yeah.
And we'll see if this guy sees him. So these are the kind of very early dudes you fight.
Yeah, this is called Forest of Fallen Giants, I think. It seems like effectively the first place you're gonna go.
So this guy here, dude look like look like Solaire?
Yeah, he looked like a guy not to be messed with, but
of course you walk up and whack
I
him.
had to do it. He's a little taller.
yeah.
So based on the 5 seconds I saw of this, I'm saying Dark Souls 2, prequel to Dark Souls, takes place before. This is a fallen Solaire before he he just had his memory wiped out, and now he's...
Oh, so there's the life gem. You can use it while you're moving, but then you see it takes a while for the health to go up.
And you're gonna kill him here.
I don't think you do that.
So this game's super easy, is what I got out of it.
How many times did you guys die?
Yeah, they totally.
In your little first hour.
This is Care Bear
So
Souls.
I took one of the paths that led me to, we don't have B-roll of it, but it just took me to this place where these guys were killing me in 2 hits, and of course, once I was there, I was like, I'm gonna beat one of these dudes. and we ended up a half hour trying to fight.
Oh, really?
Did you beat one of them?
Did they have like glowing red eyes, or were they knights or something that you just?
They were definitely big, giant, burly, armored knight guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Like big.
But I wound up running past him. I got to one of the bosses, and he wound up killing me.
Well,
as well.
so there was the first one that you couldn't beat by himself, and when you ran past there, I think you get into an area where there's like 3 of them.
like 4 of them, yeah. So we were playing offline, so we couldn't test any of the invasion
That seems
stuff.
a weird way to go about showing off
a little weird
game that has so much integrated online
Yeah,
stuff.
kind of. I mean, it's still in a test environment. It's not finished.
And it was
debug.
It was from the very beginning, so I don't
Well, that
think.
game must be done by now. I mean, if it's coming out in March, you're going through certification already.
Close, yeah, I'm sure. They might have another couple.
I think it was probably more about the internet at the venue.
Oh,
yeah, there's also that
side. That can be bad.
But we did ask about the invasion stuff because that's what a lot of people have been worried about, right? It's like, oh, you can get invaded at any time when you're hollowed, when you're not. That's going to suck.
Sure.
And I agree.
I've heard so. I was reading up on it, and basically you can be invaded anytime, hollowed or not, non-hollowed or human or whatever. And I've heard there might be covenants you can join to make that less of a issue, but it sounds like it's still going to be kind of probably a lot of griefing going on. I mean,
maybe.
I don't know. You can always play offline if you really want to.
Yeah.
Like they even when you asked them, like they wouldn't get real specific about what those covenants do.
They weren't super specific, but what they did say was there are covenants that might be able to protect you. So when somebody invades, you might be able to summon somebody else.
Well, that was there was one of the Dark Souls ones where if you joined a covenant, I think it was easier to get retribution on people who killed you or something like that.
But this is like, it sounded to me, and again, we'll have to see when it comes out, because we played offline, that if you get invaded, you will instantly be able to summon aid from another, if you're in a covenant, or there will be another covenant that's like, I helped dudes you get invaded, to fight that invader for you while you go off and do something else.
Well, I mean, that'll be good. That's good. But then in Dark Souls, one of the problems that people who are built for invading are built for fucking invading.
Yeah.
They will come in and wreck your shit if you're not specifically geared for PvP. This is what I kind of, you had that happen in Demon's Souls, where a guy who had the spear that made all your equipment break and shit like that.
Level 1 with the best equipment in the game.
Yeah, so my worry about having invasions be mandatory part of the game if you're online is like, some people will find ways to take advantage of that.
Hopefully they've balanced toward that a little bit better.
Hopefully.
One thing I noticed about the invasions is there's a ring you can get where you pick the name of a deity to inscribe on it.
I didn't get that.
And then that makes it easier to invade other players who have the same deity on their ring. So I don't know what you're going to end up doing with that.
So I bet there'll be items that are like, hey, reduce the risk of invasion or join this covenant.
Yeah.
Just have like a PvE covenant.
That one covenant that I joined at the beginning, the one right next to the starting town.
The arduous path.
Yeah, like the arduous, like he was like, this will set you on an arduous path or something like that. And like, it sounded kind of innocuous, like, oh, there will be a side quest that spawns off of being in this.
Yeah.
And then the NAMCO guy, like, what was it he told you? He was basically like, that makes...
He hinted that maybe that,
like, it makes
that
the entire,
it's not all that it seems, yeah.
Like, makes the entire game harder
It's a pro
or something
tip.
like that. Yeah,
so there was a covenant in the very beginning, the stone, that's like, hey, do you want to join this covenant? It's the first thing you see that's a covenant. And you're like, sure, yeah. And it's like, hey, heads up. We're, joining this covenant will put you on an arduous task. And you're like, yeah, whatever, a side mission, got it. And then later on, talking to somebody who was like, no, that's just like, that. I think that might make the whole game just harder. So a couple of things like that. And I don't want to give too much away about the game, but like a couple of things talking kind of after we had played, it's like, no, you shouldn't do that. That'll make the game hard. Like a lot of things in there, it's like, if you do this X, Y, Z thing, your whole game becomes harder, ups the difficulty.
Can I ask you guys some questions?
Yeah, please do.
All right, we got a few down here. Let's see here now. A lot of questions on the PC release date. Did they mention anything about that?
Yeah, the interview we put up a couple hours ago addresses that. Like, it sounds like don't hold your breath. Like, I don't know where I had gotten this idea that it was only like going to be.
I heard it was like a few weeks after.
A few weeks after, but like the reading between the lines, it sounds like it might be a little while.
That's too bad. I mean,
yeah, it really is.
One of the weird things about the PC is that there is a fair amount of hacking in terms of what people can do. Like, people can come and take away all your soul levels.
Yeah.
So
like they can give themselves items they shouldn't have.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So it hasn't happened to me too often, but I know it's been an issue. So maybe going on the PS3 first.
The thing they did say was, From is doing the PC port, and they learned a lot from the first one. So they said, PC people are not going to get screwed on the technical side again.
Good.
And B, like the reason it's coming later is because they're taking the time to do it right.
There it is. So, it's coming.
Whoa.
Yeah, I had high hopes to just play that one, but it sounds like if you want to be in on the ground floor and like get into this when everybody is discovering all the stuff, when it's that collaborative process of everybody figuring out and building on each other's knowledge.
Yeah, booty.
Yeah. Look at that.
So you guys played on.
You should get the console version.
You guys played on PS3. How did you feel about performance-wise? It's pretty.
I thought it was smaller areas. It's fine. Like that B-roll that we had.
There's no Blight Town that you saw.
Okay. Well, but that big open area that I talked about. The one downside is it kind of ran like a dog out there.
That's too bad.
Like the big open area, but in the smaller areas it seemed okay.
Yeah, it was. But it kind of ran like I expect. It kind of ran like Dark Souls.
It's a big open world game,
Or like just like Dark Souls. Like, those frame rates can be up and down.
Yeah.
Sure. How do you guys feel? So this game is rated T. Dark Souls is rated M. Did you guys notice anything crazy about the way that played out in the game that you can mention?
Let's see. I don't remember there being any blood when you backstab, but I can't remember.
Is there ever?
There's blood in Dark Souls.
There
Like
definitely
when you
is.
stab a dude?
Yeah, there definitely is.
Did they just turn it green or something? Or
There was an option. There was an option to turn blood on or off.
Oh,
in the
really?
menu.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure there was.
Maybe.
Because I did go into the options to see what was there, and I thought there was like turn blood on or off.
I think this was already known, but I'm so bummed that there's no more ragdoll on the corpses.
that's too bad.
Blood on these guys?
I love like after you kill a guy, just running around on him and making him flail everywhere. And that's
Yeah, but that stuff would like sometimes you get in your way.
well, it never stopped you. I thought it was funny. But yeah, most of the enemies either just immediately disappear when you kill them, or if they go down, they just are static.
Like I didn't see any naked ladies or anything like that.
Yeah.
But even in like Dark Souls and Demon Souls, they always covered up any
maybe
nudity,
just a little less bloody, and that's what they
I
did.
guess I don't know.
I don't like the noise when you get souls anymore. They changed it.
It's not a blong anymore.
It's not the same sound it used to be when you kill a guy and the souls get like sucked into your counter.
Did you play this, Patrick?
What, Dark Souls 2?
Have you played it at all?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Do you have any
I know
questions?
very, very little about the game. I'm actually trying to have the opposite experience that I had with Dark Souls, which is that game's kind of mastered. And I avoided, I didn't read a FAQ or anything like that, other than to get a better understanding of the upgrade system and, maybe what I was going to lose by interacting with it. But, I didn't look at the chat too much when I was streaming and things like that. But it's hard to not, through osmosis, learn a little bit about what was going on. Like the sequence in Dark Souls, Vinny, where you got kicked over by the skeleton.
Yeah.
Like I kind of knew that was coming. I still got kicked. I guess I got thrown off that cliff.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I like announced it on the stream. I'm like, oh, I know this part. I saw this in a GIF somewhere.
Yeah.
And then immediately got my ass handed to me anyway.
Nice.
I played that game, and like Dark Souls, also is like an unbalanced game with the DLC. Like you are like completely over leveled by the end of that game. Like I was just stomping through what took most people like 12 hours, I did in about 2. Because the DLC, if you do it early enough, essentially gives you like an extra 15 to 20 levels, and the game doesn't scale that with what happens.
Just going through the painted world will level you quite a bit. Like all the enemies in the painted world just kind of blow you up.
That's a walk. That's a cakewalk.
Well, it's not. It's just they give you a lot of health for how hard they are to kill, or a lot of souls for how hard they are to kill.
So you're trying to go in pretty cold, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm trying to go in cold, and I'm gonna hopefully purposely try a different build. Like I played the game as a pyromancer, which is makes the game a little bit easier because you get some range stuff, and you can also get in there with a big heavy axe, which is what I used. And I'm wondering how they'll balance out your ability to sort of manipulate weight, because a lot of what I was doing was equipping any item that allowed me to have heavier armor on while I was still rolling. And I wonder if they'll nerf some of that stuff to kind of make you commit to certain builds. Like, hey, if you're going to have heavy armor, do that.
Right.
I don't know. That's pretty standard practice for Dark Souls, like equipping Havel's Ring and stuff like that to make your roll better. So
right, but you lose that ring slot. So it's
but now you have 4, so maybe it'll be a little weird to see how they balance that out too. So
2 Havel's Rings,
double Havel's Rings.
So like, here's what I really hope. This is what I would love to see. I would love if this game took place before Dark Souls 1, and is the tale of like the original curse, and like go before all that stuff. Go when Anor Londo and old Gwyn is actually doing all right over there, the Age of Fire and all that stuff, and you're doing this not too long after they defeated the dragons and all that stuff. I feel like they could get around some of like, well, what happened to the ending in Dark Souls 2? Is this related or anything like that?
Interesting.
Do this whole other side tale.
Because have you seen any sign that that's actually the case, or is that just
Well, the
wishful
only
thinking?
thing is like, all right, so this takes place in Dragon Lake or whatever,
Dragon
and
Lake,
and they do show it before the fall, and there are a bunch of dragons like circling it and like doing all this stuff. So maybe this is like right after they're all killed. It'd be really interesting to me lore-wise if that's where it
I have no
is.
idea. I never beat Dark Souls. So
And they'll never tell us until
Yeah, sure. I mean, that stuff will have to be sussed out. Isn't there some kind of comic book or novelization that they're doing for this?
I'm writing it.
Yeah, you wrote it.
Yeah, it's from my point of view. It's, Patch's Tales.
Do you think Patches would be in here? He's the only character who...
Sure.
Did you see him in the first thing?
I did not. No.
Well, I guess he's the only character who came from Demon Souls to Dark Souls, so it seems likely that he'll be around. He'll probably try and trick you, kick you down a pit or something like that.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I felt was different. Like the movement and the combat and all that seemed very similar.
Yeah, it definitely feels somewhat like
parrying still in there.
Yeah, I felt like I had a little bit harder time getting backstabs off. Like the enemies weren't as prone to just letting you circle around behind them.
Yeah, like the backstab mechanics seemed a little different. You said it seemed very similar.
Well,
when I was using my dagger, it seemed a little different.
The big question is like, I mean, they're saying you can take damage while you're backstabbing now, right? You're not invincible anymore. You can you're also there. I don't think there are any invincibility frames in the roll either.
That's what they said.
The guy said in the interview. But when I backstabbed a guy, I was still locked into the animation.
So I seem to.
It didn't seem like I could cancel out of it. So.
Oh well, you also now can be attacked while you're backstabbing.
That's
what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know how they balance that out. If you
just have to be
it might
careful.
It might just be a serious risk reward thing. Like I had a similar situation with the swordsman that I played. Like, in that tutorial area, it was really easy. I was like, oh man, I'm just like swinging swords left and right.
Sure.
This is amazing. And then you get out into the real game and you immediately start missing your shield. Like a melee class with no shield, like you have to really be on your dodges, and it's
well, the backstab
demanding.
never really made much sense to be invincible while you're doing it in Dark Souls, so I can see that as a balance.
Oh no, it's such a long animation. Like everybody just gangs up on you.
You can't expect to be invincible. I think they also removed some invincibility frames from the roll too now. So rolling is less of a perfect way to avoid.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys play any magic? I hear there's a new magic category called hexing in Dark Souls.
I didn't try any magic
I
stuff.
didn't get far enough. Oh, that guy died.
Yeah, they don't show this guy going down in this B-roll.
The backstab for me seemed like a two-stage thing where I would knock him to his knees and then have to commit again to stab him in the back.
It might be different for different weapons. I don't know.
It could be. I was using that sick dagger. And then, we just kind of ran around, and I died a bunch and lost my souls. And it seemed like you didn't have to rest at a bonfire to revive there. You could just light it. Like in Dark Souls, you light it, and then you run off, and you die, and you say, fuck, I forgot to rest there, and shit, now I'm back 8 hours ago. It seemed like you just light it, and then you'll respawn there.
You guys try any spell aiming or bow aiming? I hear the bows have been totally redone.
I didn't get a bow. It was a bummer. I didn't have one. I was looking for one. I would love to see how that's changed, especially if it is like this Rubik's Cube again of like, okay, hit left, L2, R1, L1. Okay, now I'm in aiming mode. Now I can't remember how to get out of it.
I heard a long time ago that they're trying to make bows really be something you can use in combat without having to be like a secondary thing. Like they want to make archers a viable class, but I haven't seen much of the beta myself. I know a lot of people played the beta, so hopefully it'll be working out. And you can aim stuff better apparently. Like you don't have to. You can aim spells and everything without having to.
Like manually?
Yeah.
Weird. That'll change a lot.
Hope. So hopefully.
The people in the chat might know. I didn't get it. I wasn't able to play in the beta, so they might know a lot better.
Guys, look at any stats or anything like that? I hear a lot of stuff has been reworked, like Magic relies on new stats and everything.
I did look through it, but I didn't notice anything that was way different.
You never upgraded your character? You're like you didn't have time?
I killed that lady.
Okay, all right.
But I wouldn't have had enough souls anyway to do it. I was not retaining my. I was not playing that well, surprisingly.
It's really hard with just an hour at the beginning to make any serious progress.
They mentioned anything about game length, like the same Dark Souls?
No.
They're being cagey about that?
I thought they had mentioned at some point, not when we were there, but in a different place, saying the world was bigger.
Yeah.
It was a lot bigger. It definitely felt more like Dark Souls, less like Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
With the.
I mean, it's still a big interconnected, contiguous world, and not like a bunch of
archstones.
Not a bunch of warps into discrete levels.
Like I definitely went the wrong way.
Yeah.
I went a way that was like.
Well, they said there's no wrong way from that starting area, but there are ways that are easier and ways that are harder. Yeah, unless you're some kind of amazing.
When you run into regenerating skeletons at the beginning of Dark Souls, you know you've done something
yeah,
bad.
I guess it's kind of like the graveyard in the first one. Like they said, if you're good enough, you can go that way first.
I did get to the boss.
Did you?
Of that level?
And he killed you in one hit.
Killed me in one hit.
So you mentioned the other day about using multiple health items at one time.
I don't know about health items. I used
Soul items?
unless I'm remembering wrong, I had several of like Soul of a Fallen Soldier or whatever. I'm pretty sure I remember.
And you can pop
when I used it in the menu, it just said how many of these do you want to use, and I just did all of them.
That's a good change.
Pretty sure that's in there.
What a good, easy.
I know, yeah. Like, hey, UI 101.
Yeah, so I didn't see any humanity stuff.
Yeah, I don't know that there's.
They
any
had those effigies,
concept
but
like
I'm
that.
not 100% sure what those did. They
So
wouldn't
when
let
you-
us-
Apparently,
when you get
burning an effigy
yeah,
makes you human again.
When you
is
get
what
the
someone said.
that's what I thought it was. When you get the bonfire menu when you rest, one of the options is burn.
Yeah, and
You
can
can pick that,
some.
and it shows you all the items you can burn in the bonfire.
Well, really, you can
yeah.
burn multiple stuff.
It implied that there was more than just burning an effigy. Like there might be other things you could burn in the bonfire.
But I also did hear later on, and again, I don't want to talk too much about it because I could have misinformation or other people might have it. Don't need to add to that misinformation pool. That burning an effigy might have other effects.
Yeah.
I will say, I looked and I found in the tutorial area where we were talking about all those trees and those gates, there was a nest, and if you stand there long enough, you do hear some guys looking for shiny and
Yes,
warm.
yes.
Drop me some shiny stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
I
heard.
tried dropping some stuff, but nothing
No
happened.
dice.
So, so Snuggly the Crow might be back in that area. His voice was super weird.
Yeah.
Did not sound the same.
Do you guys notice anything about quick load? Like, is that still a system they have to worry about? Like,
I think your weight.
I think it's
Yeah.
all.
I think it's
or
more
less
Dark Souls.
The same, yeah.
I did not see like an overall inventory limit.
so you were dual wielding
I
a
was,
little
yeah.
bit. You can
Yeah.
attack with both weapons individually. Are there separate
Yeah.
animations? Like,
it seemed like there might be combos that you need to figure out. Like if you use heavy and light on the different weapons
Yeah.
in certain sequences, you would get specific combos out. But I didn't figure a lot of that stuff out.
neat.
I'm sure people dig pretty deeply into that system.
I bet.
Like I said, though, it's pretty risky not being able to block. Like
You
that.
can you get staggered yourself and stagger enemies? There's just a poise kind of system where
I didn't look too closely at the.
I think
stat
from
stuff,
some of the B-roll we saw the weaker enemies getting like
Yeah.
I think that
that's
stuff
all in
is
there.
still kind of in there.
good.
I think Drew, if you look at the screenshots, there's some shots of that early town area, even though we don't have any footage of it.
It was cool looking.
Yeah, there's some. Let's see. I don't know who that is.
Let me put back on my spectacles here. Oh wow.
Look at that guy.
Yeah, these are some NPCs or maybe enemies we didn't even see.
That looks like the guy from Resident Evil 4, the shopkeeper.
I don't know where that is
Yeah,
either.
but there are some shots of that town, like the lady you level up at and stuff.
Does it feel like
That's her, isn't it?
Say, I see Archer. You're gonna
that-
try it out.
Isn't that the level up lady?
I thought she was in a robe.
So does this feel like
Maybe.
the hub of the game? Like you're gonna be coming back
Yeah,
there a lot?
That's pretty sure that's her. Anyway, that's
like the
kind
new
of a-
Firelink Shrine?
Yeah, that Majula town seemed very much like the Firelink of this game,
Does she have something on her face?
because it connects to multiple areas, like a hub kind of.
That's a great outfit for that guy.
Yeah.
There you go. You're playing as Ferris. That's like-
That's also a dude from that area. There are no good wide shots here, but these are some of the NPCs that hang
yeah,
out.
like we got up to a puzzle where there was like this statue blocking a lever.
Yeah.
Where we just couldn't move forward, and I don't know how you solved that puzzle. So
Call Nathan Drake. Have him climb over.
I'm sure he could figure
it was a
out.
little statue. It's too small for him. Put the gem in it. You know, gotta get 3 gems. So like there are definitely areas that were blocked off that
Yeah.
you'll have to come back to that you couldn't enter just
Yeah.
yet. And then I met like 5 NPCs like just in the first hour playing. So
Yeah, totally.
The voice acting seems pretty good again.
Yeah, it's very British. There's one guy with a real thick Scottish brogue kind of
Yeah,
thing
I think he
going
was the
on.
guy by the statue.
Yeah, he was the guy hanging out by the statue.
You never hear the word rogue unless it immediately follows the word Scottish.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time you.
It's like
maybe a little Irish.
dulcet tones.
Yeah,
It's
dulcet
like-
tones.
yeah.
Broguing out.
Can you block with dual wielding? Were you
I
able
don't-
to?
unless I missed something, I don't think so.
That's weird.
So when I
I might be wrong.
when you first get to that statue, you talk to that Scottish guy, and he's like, "This statue, they're so lifelike. Like if you stare at it, it's like she almost moves." And I stood there and I just looked at the statue for a minute, being like, "I'm gonna solve this puzzle." And of course, it didn't move. And then later, I talked to somebody else, who's like, "Yeah, I did that too."
These games will trick you though. They will give you weird information and let you play out the
Yeah.
what the implications are for yourself. And sometimes it's going to be wrong, whatever you figure out. So
in the beginning level, again, I don't want to spoil too much because I think this is a little inside information. But there was like a casket or it looked like a boat that was guarded by those giant monsters that. But I guess you can use that item with some interesting results.
Oh man,
if you
it's
get
pretty
to it.
neat. Like it's not a big deal, but it's cool that they put it in there.
Yeah. So like you don't have to beat the monsters to get to it, but everybody should try it out.
Some stuff about your character that you can
change later on.
You can change if you don't like.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat.
Any other questions? I feel like I'm almost near the end of what I know.
Yeah.
Sure. If anybody else has any questions, send them to me in chat, and I can try to answer a few. So you guys created characters. Does it feel like the classes really matter? Because in Dark Souls, it's kind of like after you got past the opening thing, it matters like the opening equipment, but then you put in stats and you kind of
you have the stat commitment again. Like there were some classes that started with like 12 strength and stuff like that. But I think you could still build however you want from there.
Yeah, it just seemed like the items, like that Explorer came with a bunch of consumable items. It didn't actually seem anything in there was that great.
How many classes are there? Like 8, 10 still? Same names?
It seemed fewer.
No, there's no Pyromancer. I want to say, it seemed like there were fewer. Maybe
six,
7, 8 maybe.
Does it graphically look about the same as Dark Souls?
You
better?
you can see here. I think it's
Looks about the same to me.
This area is a little flat looking. There's some kind of muddy looking textures and stuff, but like again, that starting area looks really, really nice.
So I did get a torch, I thought, in the very beginning of the game. And you do see
these things. Yeah,
you do see these little like weird pyres.
Those things are everywhere.
But I couldn't figure out how to use the torch.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are lit. I noticed some of them running around the town were already lit.
And then in your inventory,
did you try to pickaxe any ore?
I did. I tried to mine.
They took that out of Dark Souls, or is it still?
Brad just kept running over and stealing all my ore deposits before I could get there. There was in there. Did you see in your inventory screen there was like a icon of like a torch with like a timer going down on it?
Oh.
Or it wasn't going down. It said like 2 hours. I don't know, something weird.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It didn't highlight when I hit select.
Much to be discovered.
Are the stats still the same, or are there new stats? Or?
It looked like they were mostly the same.
Yeah, I don't think there were any new ones.
But yeah, I can't remember exactly what they were. But nothing jumped out at me.
You find any items that you couldn't equip because it didn't have strength or anything like that? Is that still an issue?
I didn't find too many items.
All the like armor and stuff that dropped for me was worse than my starting gear. So
when I killed one of the vendors, I got a cool set of clothes.
That's right. You were just straight up wearing his clothes.
Yeah, and his face.
Yeah.
And, I tried to kill all the NPCs and try and get items, and then read the description to try and suss out any story I could from the game. But there was nothing like. There was nothing revealing, at least in that early stuff.
Yeah.
Thought I'd find the one item that gave away the whole story, like super early on. It's like looking in the description, but nothing. I tried.
So you don't really need to play Dark Souls 2. Is that coming off your first hour or so? I mean, you'll have a harder learning curve, I guess, but there's no like.
Yeah, like it helps mechanically, obviously, to understand the systems and the way the controls feel and like how to prioritize stuff. But like, other than that, yeah, you could jump right in, I guess.
I mean, I think they did say when we were talking that they were trying to ease new players in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that tutorial area definitely is a bit lengthier.
It feels a little more directed in the tutorial sense, like the markers that each one tells you controls, it's like hold down circle to run and stuff like that.
And I think you're hollowed when you start the game.
Is there anything like a mandatory death like the?
No, I think you're hollowed when you jump through that like whirlpool. I think you come in and you're hollowed because I don't remember them. There was no like you have to die here monster.
I guess technically you don't have to die in the first part of Dark Souls, but it sure feels that way.
Like there was no asylum demon equivalent or anything,
Yeah.
You literally basically like
I did die, but
once you feel like you're done with that tutorial area, you just run through the exit and out into the.
I bet there's some good stuff in there. Some like high level items you come back
probably,
and get.
Yeah.
You have any questions, Patrick?
This probably won't exist in the game, but it was something I thought about when I was getting kind of late into the game and was just sort of running over things because of the build I have. But is there any sense that you might be able to respec your character if, I would imagine the way the game would handle that was like, hey, you want to sacrifice 20 levels of souls and then respec your character? Because I think that would be an interesting way to handle it. Like, did you get any sense that they might offer that as an option?
I didn't see anything. No, definitely didn't see anything.
There's definitely there's no indication of that.
But like we were talking about before, we were talking to some people, and there are things you might be able to change, at least cosmetically, about your character. So maybe it's something.
There's a barbershop.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe there's a barbershop for stats. I wouldn't be completely surprised if that weren't in there. But again, yeah, you'd have to probably sacrifice a lot to do it. I think
it just might like, especially when I'm thinking through the idea of playing 2 without sort of ideal builds, or like, hey, if you're new to this, like, this will make it easier for you to get through the game. That's not going to happen for a little while, or these theories will be, thrown out there and then tested later, and then maybe are failures. But I feel like it would be more fun if there were, big consequences for respecking, but that at least you could, like, hey, you know what? I'm going to experiment with this build and not have to start the game over if I want to try something different. Like, I think a huge negative consequence as a result of that kind of experimentation would be an interesting wrinkle, given that you can play the game so many different ways. And, if, possibly you got to a boss and it's like, look, I can't do this. I need to respec my character in some direction. I don't know. It sounds interesting, and it seems like there's a way they can handle that without sort of hamstringing, the commitment the game asks from you.
I kind of doubt they'll have any respec. It doesn't seem like it's part of their...
I don't know. Like, the direction that Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls went after the DLC with that kind of emphasis on PvP and the arena in the Ulasil, and where Dark Souls 2 has like the invasion stuff, it seems like they're pushing a little more on PvP. There's such different builds, right?
Sure.
For PvE and PvP.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be totally surprised if there was some like horrible thing, like, yeah, you can respec, but like now you crawl and you have no legs, and like
We take away the circle button.
Yeah, you can't use swords anymore.
So you haven't, you guys didn't do any PvP at all?
Yeah, it wasn't even enabled in that build, so.
But but there were no like there were no like fake phantoms. Like I said, we were hollowed the whole time. Not that I don't think it makes a difference this time around, but like there were no fake black NPC phantoms or anything like that. Nobody ever invaded. They didn't even talk about like in Dark Souls they kind of explain a lot with like the timeline's all messed up and like time flows in and out and spirits of other warriors will come into your world and that's how phantoms are coming around. There was none of that. They didn't talk about that. They do mention that like, everybody comes here. All the Hollowed come here and try to do this thing. So of course there's everybody running around. But yeah, you seem a little worse off than you did in Dark Souls. Your main character seems like he's in a tougher spot.
They talked. You mentioned that curse thing. Is that something they explained, like how that fits in the story? Or
I think it's just the curse. I think it's like the dark sign. I think it is the curse of like immortality. But it seems like a real some bad business.
Yeah.
And messaging. Do you guys see any messages from other players? I guess you wouldn't if you were offline, but is there still a way to put down stuff?
There were messages. You can see some of them in that B-roll, but.
And the system, the menu options in the top, like where you go through like your inventory and your, like the equipment and the inventory and stuff. There is a thing for like, I think it's like a message history, and like you can like review messages you wrote. Like it seems like they have added to it, fleshed out.
Have music? You guys hear any good music? It seems
no music in the game. It's weird. Just nothing.
It's just
no sound.
It sound okay?
It's weird. There's just the guy in the corner signing all the dialogue. Yeah, it sounded Dark Souls-y.
Yeah, I don't remember. It didn't leap out at me. But
it reminded me more of Dark Souls. That now seeing you play Demon Souls again, it did not remind me of Demon Souls.
Demon Souls has weird music.
Weird trumpets and fanfare.
You can still gesture too?
I think so. I don't remember.
I
think I tried it.
I did not gesture to anybody. I didn't find it in that menu. And I didn't see any motion controls or anything like that.
no connect for
go like this, the jump. It's real accurate.
It seems like most of the questions we have. Any new mechanics you guys noticed at all?
Just the dual wielding, or like the combo stuff with the dual wielding. I think you can hold weapons before, but now they interact. Like when you're,
it seems like it anyway.
Did your weapons, were they made? Was it one weapon set that was?
No,
dual
I had.
wielding?
I think it was one short sword and one scimitar.
Okay.
I think, and they were both +1 for the starting equipment.
So that's what I'm curious to see with the dual wielding, if there are combinations of weapons that
give you like new combos
or work well together.
Yeah.
Right. That like give you help each other out. Right?
I mean, I bet there are some organically just by nature of having different speeds of attacks and stuff like that.
Or just like, are you going to get something where you can like have a whip a dude and then like bring him in and stab him or do anything like that?
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. Also, the thing I was saying about not being able to block, I mean, with 3 slots per hand. I don't see any reason you couldn't have a shield in your offhand, right? That you
I'd
could,
like to be able to switch out?
toggle over to.
Yeah,
I would think you could do that.
the ability to it's weird to use the terminology now, not dual wield, but to use 2 hands on your left hand item or your right hand item, I think is pretty cool. There are definitely points where you're not strong enough to use a bow or something, but if you use 2 hands, you can do it, and that's cool. And we probably got a bunch of stuff wrong, so
Sure, that's
sorry.
fine. Just looking around, it looks like Amazon has the PC version as May 31st, but that might be like the end of the quarter kind of thing, probably unreliable.
Yeah, they would not commit to a time frame other than to say it's not going to be.
PS3 and Xbox March 11th is sound about right?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
That's right.
soon.
So, gosh.
Yeah, we're getting there.
What are you going to play on PS3, Matt?
If it's going to be that much longer to wait for the PC version, I'll probably get a console edition of it, probably PS3, just because that's what I have hooked up. But it's disappointing. If it was like 2-3 weeks for the PC version, I'll probably wait for it. But if it's going to be 3 months,
that was my plan. But like
I do feel like if it were within the 2 or 3 weeks, they would have just given us a date.
yeah, totally.
I mean, the PC version was not a good port by any standards, but DS Fix did help a lot with that. And there's actually some people doing work now on FreeCam, so you can take better screenshots. And some of that stuff is pretty. That game looks really nice with some graphical mods. So
you can refer to that interview we put up. I forget the exact line, but paraphrasing, he said PC gamers will not get cheated by this port.
good.
So.
But you'll get cheated, but when you play on the PC by dudes who are cheating.
There's always
Yeah, they haven't talked about it. It's obviously not Games for Windows Live. I'm
but
thinking Steam anti-back
they couldn't commit to like Steamworks or any of that stuff.
So I guess it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Patrick, are you going to play on PS3?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as all you guys. If it was a 2-3 week wait, I'd much rather play it on PC and guarantee that frame rate is a little more solid. But it sounds like we're looking at least a month and a half, 2 months minimum. And
Well, that's
so yeah.
You'll have my guide.
Game will be the Vinco guide to I'm with you. I'm excited to be there on day one, not knowing anything about it, or like having nobody know anything about it.
So
I guess Epic Name Bro is doing a guide.
Yeah, he's apparently played a ton of the game already.
That's crazy. Like doing an official guide.
Or all of it. Yeah, they're working with him.
That's funny.
On that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll do more like lore videos or something now that he actually knows all the stuff.
Maybe.
Man, his YouTube channel will go bananas if he has like day 1 lore videos for that game.
Yeah.
Who would want to watch him though? I mean, I'd rather play the game and all that stuff. I never got
the PC
the bad people. Yeah. Cool.
Any other questions?
Can you dual wield shields?
I only found 1 shield, so
I guess.
it's a shame.
I don't see
I want to go around whacking people with shields.
Just bashing them like this.
See why not?
Just play a mentally challenged character.
Garbage can lids just going through the world.
That's cool. That seems like most of the questions that I've
Or
gotten.
any other clarifications? Because I've got a ton of questions. If anybody can answer them out in the chat.
If you want to ask anything. Are there any new weapon classes that you saw, like any new types of weapons?
All I found was a dagger, and I never used daggers in Dark Souls, so I don't know if they.
They even have daggers. In
Yeah,
Dark Souls?
definitely.
They have small weapons. I don't.
You
know
got
if
like
they have
Priscilla. You got a dagger from Priscilla when you chop off her
forget.
tail. But like, I was kind of cool using the dagger, especially using it with 2 hands. It was really silly looking. Dudes jabbing dudes.
Sure.
Kick, I think, was the kick there? I don't remember being able to. I tried kicking.
I don't
a dude.
remember kicking anybody, and I almost feel like I tried it and it didn't work. But I'm not sure.
me too.
Maybe they changed the control for that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Beta's done, I guess, right? I guess we're just
I
waiting.
haven't seen a beta in a while.
Yeah, I assume that stuff's all over with.
I'm assuming there's a network stress test kind of stuff.
I'm really interested. I really hope, in even a small way, it ties into Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like some hint of continuity between it.
Was this the first time you guys played this game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you more excited now? Less excited? About the same excited as you were before?
Like a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't
No,
really.
it's real. It's really gonna happen.
Yeah, but also like it didn't really surprise me in any profound way. Like it's just a iterated and evolved Dark Souls, right? Like
Yeah, I'm about the same.
It's very clearly, of that lineage. They've made a lot of little tweaks and stuff.
The dude didn't pull out a gun and just start shooting dudes. But
like if you're looking for more Dark Souls, like I think you're probably going to be tickled pink.
there's a bunch of weird, funny, quirky stuff in Dark Souls and in Demon Souls that I'm looking forward to seeing in this game, and that's exciting. I don't think mechanically there's going to be anything that's going to blow people's minds.
I didn't expect a talking cat though.
There's talking cat in Dark Souls, man.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, is this the same talking cat as in Dark Souls?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said,
Could be younger.
He was a thinner. It was a thinner cat. She, I guess.
This one seemed more like a Siamese, or
It was smaller.
Well, the
was
one
less
in Dark Souls is
Cheshire.
very Cheshire Cattish. So.
no, actually, this one totally seemed like that.
Prequel.
Huh.
Calling it.
Oh,
You play as Gwyn. That's it.
all right.
Check out my YouTube lore videos. Everything wrong about Dark Souls 2.
YouTube.com/epicvinbro.
Yeah, it's all in there. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I just hope I have time to play it, and I can't wait to see everybody kind of flailing about and all the misinformation that goes out there.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
What you should do and what you shouldn't do. And now it's such a different time with this game coming out. Like, I feel like if you turn on Twitch for the next month, all of March is just going to be Dark Souls 2 streams. Every outlet will be doing Dark Souls 2 streams, so we'll see.
Seems that way.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick, what you got going on? Anything else this week, tomorrow? More Spelunky?
Well, I feel like I should start retiring Spelunky. We had 2 runs to hell today and 2 runs to the City of Gold. So there are huge leaps in where I was at in Spelunky. It's exporting now and should be on the site in a little bit.
What does that mean? Is that the end game? Is there nowhere to go past those places?
There's
so
another
it's-
optional boss.
So no, so in Spelunky, normally you go, through the mines, the jungle, the cave, and then the temple, and then you fight Olmec, who's the big gold-headed dude.
Right.
But if you do a series of things in each world that stack on top of each other, and then ride Olmec's head down as you're killing him to a door, then you go to the secret world called Hell, which has another boss called Yama. And then that is sort of the end game of Spelunky if you don't, get into some of the weirder challenges people have created for themselves. But I got all the way to Yama, so I'm on my way. But I just like the idea that you have to ride the killing of a boss to get to the door.
That's pretty cool. Did you do you have any Souls-related features in the works?
Yeah, I'm doing like a big write-up about having finished the game, and I had a bunch of readers leave voicemails on a Google Voice account explaining why they liked the game, and I'm gonna kind of cut that together. And then there were a couple of things I'm working on, but I got caught up in a big EVE Online story that's kind of derailed everything. So I'm hoping to get that together for next Monday.
What is this website?
I don't know.
What have we become?
I don't know.
Don't think about it too much.
Just Souls and Spelunky and Eve.
In Eve? Yeah, I don't know. We lost the thread spun out.
Ugh.
Titanfall's coming out soon, you shoot guys!
And Jeff's doing his giant Titanfall feature.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Like all he does is ride around his mech all day. It's bananas. All right, well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Beyond Death, Dark Souls 2,
Go beyond death.
Go Beyond Death
I guess.
is out early March, man.
March
It's
11th.
February already.
Yeah.
Just about.
Almost. Yeah.
So not long now.
Video games are coming
It's
back.
probably the last we'll see of it, I assume.
Yeah, I guess probably until we get it in here, which I hope is sooner than later, but we'll see.
What a weird series.
Yep.
Cool.
Indeed.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.